As leaders, all of us know that we work with different generations within our organizations. And I think it is imperative that we understand those generations and how they work together. And when we understand each other better, we can work together to achieve more. There's a lot of less frustration, especially thinking of the next generation. They are almost a weird bunch. But I believe, and this is what we've experienced within our organization where we work, is working with young students, students at university level, is if we understand them better, we can better guide them through life. And I quickly want to share some thoughts on how you can lead the next generation better. We've got two different generations that's coming through into the workplace now. And the one we call the millennials, born between 1981 to 1996. And then from 96 onwards, you get the Generation Z, or the next generation, or Generation IY, as they call themselves often. But I'm going to refer to Generation Z. And the differences between these two generations, it's crucial that we understand that, because we cannot work with them in the same way. For instance, the millennial generation is a generation that is not necessarily motivated by a salary alone, but more by their purpose that they live out in their workspace. Where Generation Z will be motivated by job security and a salary. For them, they also want to make an impact into this world. But their job security, growing up in a volatile environment, a recession, oftentimes they find themselves in a place where job security is something that is pretty much needed. The other thing about the millennial generation is that they are not motivated by bosses, but they want coaches in their job. Where the Generation Z would want a mentor, someone that can be honest with them, look them in the eye and give them honest feedback. Generation Z is also a generation that wants feedback, instant feedback. They want to feel the impact that they are having in this world immediately. Where the millennials are often in a place where they say, if you can give me monthly feedback or yearly feedback on how I'm tracking through life, that will be enough. Another interesting difference between millennials and Generation Z is that a millennial will see their job as their life, and they will dedicate their whole lives to achieving something within their job environment. Where the Generation Z is often seeing their job only as a means to fulfill something in the outside world. You know, they see themselves doing a job, but they need the money to fulfill something else, to pursue some other purpose. So it's interesting to understand these two different generations and working with them. And I want to give you 3 pointers that we've experienced that helps you to engage the next generation more effectively. The first one is to move away from control to connectedness. And with that I mean not controlling them in the workspace, but actually connecting with them on a personal level and interacting with them as a connected device would connect with another device. And so they will share information and expertise with one another. Moving away from being controlling over the generation will actually ignite something of a creativity and place them in an area where they feel, I can contribute, I have something to say, I'm not just here because of this and that, I have something to contribute towards this organization. And moving away from control to connectedness, it's something that happens on a very personal, relational level. So I want to encourage you to not only control young people and put them into a place where they need to fulfill specific things, but open it up and actually give them space to be creative and a space where they can actually move towards achieving goals, not necessarily counting the amount of time they spend in the workspace, but actually measuring the outcomes of their time spent. A second point that I want to make is that we need to move away from informing them to collaboration with them and actually making the information part of them. I think oftentimes the different generations will say, here's all the information that you need, go with it. We actually need to take the next generation and guide them through the information. There's a lot of information in this world available, and oftentimes our young people lack the experience or the wisdom to differentiate between good information and bad information, what I need to make part of my life. And we as leaders of in their lives can actually facilitate the process of taking information and making it part of who they are, and actually in that way cultivate their characters as they grow as young leaders. Lastly, moving away from doing it for them to helping them achieve it. The other day I sat with a master's degree student where he says, JT, help me to understand how I'm going forward in life, because it feels like I'm going to finish my master's degree, I'm going to retire, and then I'm going to die, because my whole life was planned for me. All I needed to do is pitch up at a class, fulfill the needs that I needed to do, write an exam, and here I am today. Everything was planned. My school, everything in my life was planned. And I had to sit with him and just navigate through the complexities of life and helping him, not doing it for him, but just giving some perspective on life so that he can make his own decisions. And I must say, it was 1 or 2 conversations, and I can say that helped that young man to a large extent, that he's actually seeing the purpose of his life, because it's not planned, he's actually making a plan. So I truly hope that you will lean towards understanding the next generation more, that you will purposefully and intentionally spend time in reading some articles and understanding how they function, how they think, what this world has been shaping into them, so that you can be a leader that actually helps the next generations to be the leaders they need to be in their organization.